in the midst of all of the Ukraine, Gog, Russia, the beast invasion of Ukraine, most news outlets have been absorbed with the whole matter of covering that war from top to finish, top to bottom, I suppose. And but there's been a major breaking story over the past couple of weeks regarding the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, whose name is Virginia Thomas, but she goes by the nickname of Ginni Thomas is what she calls herself. And what that story has been about is that Ginni Thomas, who's the wife of this Clarence Thomas, Clarence Thomas is a Hamite, and she's a Japheth woman. And they both look as old as washing powder, but that haven't been said. Leave that there for the moment. This Ginni Thomas has been very active in conservative circles over the years. And what has been revealed by some information that was handed to the January 6th committee is that Ginni, that's what she's known as, and I'm not being impolite by calling her that, Ginni Thomas, wife of Supreme Court Justice following up after Thurgood Marshall, Clarence Thomas, his wife was involved in the attempted overthrow of the election of Joe Biden on the 6th of January, going back in 2021. And I want to read us. Mark Meadows turned over some information he had, and in the information he had, there were 29 tweets that were extracted from the wealth of information that Mark Meadows gave to the January 6th committee. And one of the tweets that Ginni Thomas, now this is the wife of a Supreme Court Justice, Clarence Thomas, here's what she said. Help this great president stand firm, Mark, for exclamation marks. She's talking to Mark Meadows. Ginni Thomas wrote to Mark Meadows on the 10th of November, after the election was officially called for Biden. She also writes, and I quote, "You are the leader with him who is standing for America's constitutional governance at the precipice. The majority knows Biden and the left is attempting the greatest heist of our history." Now, this is the wife of a Supreme Court justice. All right, now listen, well, you can drop her, Mr. Engineer. She's entitled to her opinion. There are a couple of things I'd like to look at. First of all is that she's saying this, and she's saying it to the man who is closest to, Mark Meadows, closer to the president than Vice President Pence at the time. And you figure Mike Meadows is running the White House, and she is stating that Trump is the greatest president ever. I've stopped trying to figure out why these people say that. A lot of it is just hyperbole. But I have to tell you, after listening to the Hamites and watching their unprecedented stage 4 racism, and why race is everything with them, and Jesus ain't gonna never take center stage with black people. I should call them black Hamites, so it ought to have better sense. Jesus ain't gonna never take center stage. I mean, never, like eternity. Jesus ain't gonna never wash the hearts and minds of these racist people like Al Sharpton and a bunch of other people, all these black mayors and, of these cities. He ain't gonna never get the heart of Al Sharpton over racism, number one. So I've studied that pretty closely. And what I now see happen with people like Japheth woman, Ginni Thomas, Virginia Thomas, and that whole crowd of MAGA people, who all out there everywhere you can look on a stone declaring that Trump is the greatest president ever, is that they have been hurt. They are bitter. They have been hurt. And the reason why Trump is the greatest president, not that he fought the Civil War, or led America to adopt the 13th Amendment to the Constitution or set the grounds for the 14th Amendment or the 15th Amendment to the Constitution. No, Trump has never done anything anywhere near that as did Abraham Lincoln. Or as George Washington, the first president, led the nation first in battle, the Battle of Valley Forge, and fought the British and fought King George and Cornwallis, and liberated America and gave America its freedom, then served as its first president. No, Trump ain't never done nothing like that. But let me tell you why all these Japheth people, I should call them white, that are saying that Trump is the greatest, because they've been hurt. They've been hurt by the advancement of the liberal Japheth, that is white people, their practices, and they have been hurt by the fact that these liberals have been using the Hamites, or black people, to make their voting potential larger and therefore have a greater grasp on political power. For instance, like California, where a Republican ain't gonna never win the state of California in the presidential election, or New York. They ain't gonna never win the, so these people, they're hurting. They are hurting. And so Trump, who is a con man from way back when, but he's a liar, and he knows that. Trump knows that they're hurt. And he plays right into that hurt. I'm going to do this for you. And he plays into that hurt. Well, anybody else would be ashamed to go down that road that Trump goes down. But the other thing is, and so that's one of the reasons why people like Ginni Thomas, and obviously, her husband, I don't know whether Clarence Thomas was aware of the fact that she was, that promoting, the overthrow of the election as much as she was. And now I understand, I heard yesterday it was, that the January 6th wanted an interview where they wanted to come and her to sit and tell us, well, exactly what were you thinking? What did you know? And also did Clarence Thomas know? Because, you can't have a guy sitting on the Supreme Court of America whose wife is trying to overthrow an election, whether due or unduly. So do we want to, and then Judge Carter, David Carter, ruled the other day and said that what Trump and John Eastman were doing was likely they were committing crimes in their attempt to overthrow the election by asking, for Pence to deny some of the states that were being contested. But I think there's one other thing I want to say. There are two other things. Number one is that I believe that Ginni, and I don't know her very well, but I'm just saying this. I don't have to be right about this, but I believe that Virginia Thomas, who is Ginni Thomas, who is Clarence Thomas' wife, I believe she's still hurting from what the Democrats, including Joe Biden. It was Joe Biden that sat as the chairman of the Judiciary Committee when Clarence Thomas was being nominated by George Bush. And Joe Biden being a Democrat, George Bush being a Republican, but he nominated Clarence Thomas to the bench. And that was one of the fiercest fights. I swear I would, to watch Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill and what was going on with that Senate Judiciary Committee, I would have not gone to a Muhammad Ali fight, because that thing was something. That was something. And I was just a young boy at the time watching that. That was something. But you know what I believe? I believe Ginni Thomas watched what they did, what Joe Biden did to her husband at that Senate Judiciary going back in the 1990s. And she's still hurting. They exposed Clarence Thomas, his sexual practices. Anita Hill she went all the way down the road about his sexual practices, things that he said. And I think Ginni Thomas was embarrassed by that, and she's still hurting. And now, the man that was the overseer of that judiciary hearing that excoriated her husband, and literally destroyed his character, is now going to be president. I think that's the thing that's got Ginni Thomas going. I think that's it. I may be wrong, but I think that's what's got that woman so upset. And because she ain't forgot about what Joe Biden and the Democrats did to her man. And Clarence Thomas haven't forgotten about it either, what they did to him. And not Joe Biden, the very man that excoriated him in that Senate Judiciary hearing going back years ago, is now going to be the president of the United States. You know, there was a matter that Trump brought before the Supreme Court regarding the fact that his records regarding the incidents around January 6th to be turned over to the January 6th committee. That thing went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And all other 8 justices, including Kavanaugh and the ones that Amy Coney Barrett that Trump appointed, they all voted to release the records to the January 6th committee. The one person that abstained and voted no was Clarence Thomas. So I think Ginni Thomas is hurting, you know, and she may need to go for counseling. Maybe somebody need to talk to her. And I think Clarence Thomas over the years is hurting as well. I think, I don't think he's ever gotten over that. I mean, there's no reason why I would expect him to get over it, but I don't think he's been able to move his life forward in any meaningful way because he's been a nobody on the bench. He's the longest serving person now on the bench, other than who else I think is on the bench a little longer than him. I'm not sure, but I think these people are just hurt. I think the MAGA people, running around at the Trump's rally, I think they're just hurting of how America has treated them. Like Hamite black people are deep in the wool with racism. I think these MAGA Japheth people are just pained. They're just in pain of what they see going on in America. And that's what I thought I said. And then the final thing I want to say, and I'm going to let you go to be sure because I don't want to inflict myself upon you too much further, is that I think Mark Meadows threw Trump under the bus. I do. Because Mark Meadows, when he was first asked by January 6th committee to hand over that information, he said, I ain't handing you nothing. You go to court. You want it, go to court. Make me cry uncle. He willingly gave it to them. Now he's saying he's not going to testify and he's going to take the fifth and one thing. But he gave them everything they need to know. The first day asked, he just turned it over like a like a teenage girl in the backseat of a Chevrolet. They say, well, Pastor, man, that's inappropriate. How do you know? How do you know what I'm talking about? You got an inappropriate imagination. So I think Trump. I need to talk to Trump. Tell him, Trump, Mark Meadows. I think Mark Meadows has done you a lot more damage than anybody else. He's done you a lot more damage than the January 6th committee. He's done you a lot more damage than Mike Pence. I think Trump needs to take a close look at that boy from down there in North Carolina called Mark Meadows. I think he threw Trump under the bus because he gave that January 6th committee everything they needed to know. And that's how they found out about Ginni Thomas, because it was all in his records. At any rate, everybody, I'm James David Manning. I'm the Lord's servant. I'll be right back.